All right, you guys, so today I'm going to be going over both the article and the graphic organizer and the body paragraph template with you so you can watch the first part and go through the article with me, or you can do that on your own. And then the second part, you can go through the claim evidence and then writing the body paragraph template with me. Okay, so I'm going to get started. I'm going to read it to you. So if you don't want to hear me read the article, go ahead and just fast forward a little ways until you get to what it is that you're looking for. But if you want to read along with me, this is the article, Asteroids or Volcano, New Clues to the Dinosaurs' Demise. So while you're going through this with me, we're going to mark the text. We'll number our paragraph, circle key terms, and underline important information. You can highlight if you want. I just have it underlined. Either way is fine. Okay, here we go. Paragraph number 1. Twin calamities marked the end of the Cretaceous period, and scientists have found new evidence for determining which one is responsible for Earth's fifth great extinction. So what is a calamity? When it says twin calamities, that's just an event causing great damage or a disaster. Some 66 million years ago, forests burned to the ground and the oceans acidified after the Chicxulub asteroid hit Earth in the Gulf of Mexico. Around the same time, on the other side of the planet, erupting volcanoes were busy covering much of the Indian subcontinent with lava, forming the Deccan Traps. One of these forces drove all dinosaurs except for the birds extinct and opened the evolutionary door for mammals and eventually humans. In the geologic equivalent of a murder mystery, which calamity actually did the deed is a debate that stretches back decades. Now it seems the case may finally be cracked. So here are the two kind of theories about the demise of the dinosaurs. So the one on the left says the Chicxulub impact crater in North America as it looked 65 million years ago. So you can see where that asteroid hit. We call that the Chicxulub impact. And you can see it says that red circle, severe air blasts flatten any forests in the area. Gale to hurricane force winds may extend over the southern part of the continent. And then that yellow circle, you can see that that is where impact ejecta could have gone. And then on the right, the other theory is India's volcanic past. So around 65 million years ago, a series of volcano eruptions occurred in a region of India known as the Deccan Traps. Some scientists argue that it was poisonous gases from these eruptions that led to the extinction of the dinosaurs, rather than an impact of an immense meteorite in Mexico. According to a team of scientists, the asteroid was the chief perpetrator. What's a perpetrator? Responsible for the harm. So the asteroid was responsible for the harm. While the volcanism might have slowed life's recovery after the impact by causing climate change, a lot of people have wanted to argue that both the impact and the volcanism mattered in the extinction, says Pincheli Hull, a paleontologist and geology professor at Yale University who led the research. And what we're seeing is it doesn't look like it. It's just the impact. Paragraph number 5. The untangling of what happened at the end of the Cretaceous when the dinosaurs died began in 2012 when Dr. Hull and a team of scientists drilled into the seafloor below the North Atlantic and retrieved cores containing ancient ocean sediment. One of the cores came from sediment coincidentally close to the wreckage of the Titanic. The core samples contain sediment that deposits as layers, which, like the pages of a novel, can hold clues that tell the story of what the ancient world was like. In this case, it was like flipping to the last chapter of the dinosaur's story and finding out whether it was the asteroid or the volcanism that promoted the Cretaceous extinction. So here's a picture of the ocean core sample. So you can see at the bottom, that's the upper Cretaceous. And then in the middle there, you have, remember the KT boundary that you've heard about so far? You can see that That line where the upper Cretaceous meets that boundary, that's when the impact occurred. And in that layer, you can find ejecta from the impact. And at the top, you can see very clearly an iridium layer, and we'll get to that in a minute. And then above that, we move into the Tertiary period. So remember K, Cretaceous, T for Tertiary, and that center part is the boundary that separates the two. So it's that centerpiece that tells us everything that we want to know about what caused the dinosaurs to go extinct. So we're going to read about volcano global warming. Large amounts of lava erupted both before and after the dinosaurs' extinction. Some volcanic eruptions can emit great amounts of carbon dioxide into the atmosphere. All of the CO2 can drive global warming that can fuel a mass extinction. If volcanic-driven warming was the culprit, then Dr. Hull's team says that ancient temperatures should have been relatively high around the time of the crisis. To determine how hot it actually was during the Cretaceous, scientists analyzed fossilized plankton in the core layers since their shells can store information about global temperatures. So you might be referring to that as a piece of evidence, so we're going to circle plankton as a keyword. What they found surprised them. The shells suggested that global temperatures were much lower around the time of the extinction than they should have been if volcanoes were expelling large amounts of carbon dioxide. It turns out that the volcanism stopped seeping carbon dioxide into the atmosphere some 200,000 years before the Cretaceous ended and the age of mammals began. That means any harmful warming caused by carbon dioxide was already over by the time the asteroid hit. This proves that the warming caused by volcanism occurred far before the extinction, and therefore casts blame squarely on the Chicxulub event. The facts are in the fossils. When the meteor smashed into waters near what is now Mexico's Yucatan Peninsula, it left a giant crater known as Chicxulub. Firestorms incinerated the landscapes for miles around. Even creatures thousands of miles away were doomed on that fateful day, if not by fire and brimstone, then by mega earthquakes equivalent of a magnitude 10 or 11 and waves of unimaginable size. These tsunamis and earthquakes swept sea creatures inland and tossed organisms like trees and flowers and freshwater fish all together. The fossil deposits and amber from trees also teem with tektites. Again, maybe a piece of evidence you might be using. Tektites are tiny beads of clay and glass that are the telltale fallout of planetary scale impacts. These tektites formed as molten rock ejected by the impact, showered from the sky, and clogged the gills of fish. So that to the right is a picture of what tektites look like. So it says altered impact melt spherules, tektites from the KT boundary sediments in Haiti. So these tektites were taken directly from the KT boundary in Haiti. The top layer of the fossil bed was found to be rich in iridium, a rare metal that Dr. Alvarez had originally identified at other KT boundary sites too. Iridium, a precious metal belonging to the platinum group of elements, is more abundant in meteorites than in terrestrial rocks, which are just rocks on Earth. In other words, iridium is rare on Earth but common in meteors. Not only did Alvarez's team find iridium in the KT boundary, but they found more than 30 times the amount they had expected. Even with these findings, scientific ideas are always open to questions and to new lines of evidence. So although many observations support the asteroid hypothesis, the investigation continues.